Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome new subscribers. It's great to see you here. I'm in this big empty space and we spoke about this last week, didn't we? And it feels like a year ago after my weekend. But I made a promise and I'm going to stick to it. And it was to go through this in a kind of interactive way. So if you've checked out the newsletter, if you want to drop into the energy with me, let's see where it takes me. Because like I say, everything seems to have changed since last week. So Sedna in Gemini, and I believe now Jupiter has gone into Gemini, just to add more juice. And birthing a new cycle, 2024 to 2067. Okay. I'm going to skim through this. I'm not going to read it word for word, and just jump on the questions, really. Am I lying to you or to myself? In that 29th degree, that's where all the heat is, that last degree. Just working that last point to dissolve old energies. And I found my post-it notes. And what's coming through is a relational thing. And so in relationships, whatever the format of that relationship, here's the question. Here's the statement. It's not that I want you, it's that I don't want to lose you. So this is the, yeah, thank you. And that took me to spiritually bypassing my own martyrdom, doing the right thing. But can we define what right is? Or are we tricking ourselves into believing we're doing the right thing when actually it's going to deplete us and take us away from ourself at heart, soul level? And this is what Sedna, this is the energy currently that Sedna is bringing in. She's making us look at that last degree of where have I been pretending to be nice, lovely, kind, acquiescing, useful. And what happens if I say no? What happens if in that moment where the field wants me, the family wants me, or the relationship wants me, I instead tune into my heart and get the right answer. And the heart doesn't always give the pretty truth, because the heart doesn't capitulate. The heart wants what the heart wants. Okay, and we're still in that leaving home energy. And so we're working on that karmic entanglement. We're working on the ugly truth. We're working on what are we trying to save? When our inner truth is, I don't care about this. I just don't want to let it go. I don't want to be without the security. I want to hang on to the boat like Sedna, believing that that boat is the representation of safety and security. But actually, when I climb into the boat, I'm in there with this patriarchal system that wants to abuse me or marry me off or trick me into doing something I don't want to do by laying on that heavy ancestral karma of familial obligation and burdens, all of that. This is the end. And this end might take 2 or 3 years. Because when Neptune moves into Aries, I believe next year, yeah, the shutter won't drop. It won't suddenly be over. Strange noises. Okay. I'm just going to skim through this. do want to read Heather's words because they're so beautiful. Bridging worlds. So the bridging worlds and mythology. If you go to the community tab, if you don't have a copy of this, and just hit the link that I've put in there, it will take you straight to the newsletter. So Sedna, this is the story by Heather Ensworth, who is a galactic astrologer. Sedna is the story of that Inuit maiden who goes on a spiritual journey and experiences being taught by a raven, a shaman. Her father comes to take her back to the village, to take her back to the old ways, the paradigms of the past. She realizes she's on this journey of spiritual initiation and can't go back home again. Her father tries to force her into his boat to take her back to the village, and then the raven comes, the shaman, and sets off a storm in the sea. And I find that such a beautiful metaphor for the raven being the inner voice of wisdom, which isn't always going to be hot chocolate and comfortable. Sometimes it's going to be a storm in the sea, or a storm in the inner emotions, of being taken away from something you're pulled towards from that inner core, the inner shaman that works with the metaphysical. The father, terrified, throws Sedna overboard and tries to save himself and give her back to Raven. Sedna tries to grab onto the boat to get back into the boat to safety, and the father hits her hands, breaks her fingers, and she watches them sink below the waves and dissolve and become the seals and the whales. Sedna realizes she can't cling to the boat, that these forms and structures of the past are not the path to security. She dives deep beneath the stormy waves into the silence of the deep sea and dissolves, becoming the goddess of the sea, dissolving into the oneness of the sea and all that is. We're talking about cosmic ocean here. We're talking about the collective unconscious, Pisces, the 12th house, the hidden, the mystic. Sadness speaks to dissolving our attachment to identity and indeed to what we understand as our material world. I've noticed an awful lot of credentialism coming in recently, and that's the intellectual side of what defines the labels that sometimes we hang on to that give us our power and kudos and I don't know, all of that stuff. But when we drop the label, so my transition from listening to you into Zeta Ophiuchi to learn to live through my alter ego, the deeply magical part of me that had to hide for most of her life, has caused this evisceration, this dissolution of all of my safe labels. Counselor, I don't really know what I am. I don't get hung up on it. I kind of let the client define me. That's cooler. It's just cooler. And they see me in all sorts of different ways. And that's cool. So, yeah, that's going to affect our material world. Sedna offers a loving hand from the depths of the cosmic ocean to anyone brave enough to seek their own song through the expression and alignment of soul. So leading a soul-driven life, a heart-centered life. She guides us to let go of the boat and fall into the deep unknown waters, let go of the false promises of safety and security, where we outsource our self-reliance and to ask ourselves the question, how safe and secure do I really feel in this? Because a lot of modern day safety and security is conditional. It's done on a sellout. You got to sell out to monthly pay packet, sell out to the shit job, sell out to familial obligation. Because religion controls an awful lot of our programming, which is, I'm not even going to bring that in. You know that? Sedna invites us to notice if our perception of safety and security are in any way conditional to a limiting social structure. And then the journey goes through into the brain, to the two sides of the brain, the intellect and the intelligence. And then this 9 comes in, and the 9 just keeps coming in, and it's resolving and dissolving and resolving and dissolving to get the wisdom, the love wisdom, the learned experience without judgment. That's where we grow. And I'm reminded that a traumatized child will split where the trauma has become too much to emotionally bear. The child splits from the emotional body and goes and lives here for a few years, maybe the rest of its life sometimes. Lives in the intellect so that it can explain and defend and protect itself without ever having to feel any of that Sedna water. Yeah, the 9 wants to dissolve the experience, to feel and digest it in every way so it can collapse the framework and move on. It's the learning and the letting go without any of the cleverness or grandiosity of intellectual knowing. It's okay knowing how the hippocampus and the amygdala work with the corpus callosum, but feel it. Feel it. Feel the resonant connection. Go and journey through those areas, because your story will be different. So we're joining up the feeling with the thinking. Because where there's trauma, that flow is disrupted. Okay, so this is about how we process our emotional story through our sensory perception, all of the senses, the higher senses as well, all of the clairs. And a new emergence rises to the surface. Do you remember years ago I said, you know, when all this comes down, and it's coming down, all we will be left with is heart-centered leadership, intuition, and gut. It's like, yeah, that's beautiful. So they're showing me a cell with the matrix stripped out, with the program stripped out. So it's just like this naked cell waiting to be repurposed. Yeah, and then Janus comes in. Janus? This is Gemini and the tension of opposites. And it's okay to explore those opposites without judgment. I see it like this. So I want to explore that. So I've got to gather momentum to go right into that polarity. And what's going to happen is it's going to pull me back, because to balance the polarity, we have to hold the tension of opposites, the good and the bad, to fully explore without judgment or fear. Yeah, or shame or guilt. And this will lead us into the be all you can be every expression without judgment. I mean, that's a child. That's the divine child. So that leads us into disassociation. Do you remember this card? Reverse disassociation. So this is the coming back, the reunification. And all will not be as it seems. It's coming down. I watched, I've had such a quantum weekend, massive shift. So I'm just like in this empty space at the moment. And that's it. I'm in this really empty space. I watched the best podcast I think I've ever watched, Joe Rogan and Terrence Howard. And Terrence Howard has dissolved everything I know about science and physics. That's my space. That's like the Wizard of Oz, the curtain is coming down. platonic solids, geometry, the periodic table. It's mind-blowing. And what is mind-blowing is one of the things that Terence talks about is the wave of consciousness, the wave. And we think about it in global terms, we call it telepathy. The wave of an expressed thought or a felt feeling goes out on this super highway. And other people pick it up. But as other people are picking it up on planet Earth, it's going out universally. So others picking it up. And why am I telling you that? Because for about a year, as I'm currently watching it for the second time. So it's on Spotify. I'm going to put a link on community post. So it's on Spotify. And as I'm watching this video for the second time, there are so many keys and words that I've already spoken to. So have I been picking him up? Have I been picking up his new science that can pull the whole veil down? Just thought. I guess the advice is go bigger. Okay. So yeah, Sedna, like the ice, melts, and like the ice has memory. You already know deep within you what you're about to uncover. And the truth can be ugly. And so last week sometime, I sat down to do a quick collective reading, and all the cards that came out were speaking straight into that. So I put them aside, and they've still got energy today. And the first one out is the Sacred Trickster. But it's coming in on that challenging 12. Sacred Trickster wants personal authority, but does it get pulled in the wrong direction, trying to do the right thing, trying to be of service? You know, we talk about being of service in a servitude way, bordering on, oh, I like that, narcissistic martyrdom. Oh my God. My lot, though. And so the coyote will pull us in different directions. Look at the daring in those eyes. I dare you to feel your truth. I dare you to defy me. I love this. I love this image, the depth. But my heart says this, and that wants that. If I go with my heart, am I going to disappoint that? Am I going to let that down? Am I going to be seen in a non-groovy way? Will I be seen as a bit of a rebel or a maverick or unkind? God forbid, unkind. So it's the labelism, it's the self-credentialism. Yeah, wanting to be everything I can be, but actually the peace is in the being nothing. The peace is just in the beingness without labels. If it's coming down, it has to come down. And I guess the truth is knowing if we're bringing it down or if we're holding on, that would be a good start to truth. So how do I know what is the right thing, Chrissy? Well, what do you feel? Blimmin' none. But what do you feel in this experience? Well, I'd feel really comfortable if I could just say no. Well, I feel uncomfortable because I know actually that wants more than I'm willing to give, or that wants more, that I know there'll be no equanimity in this. So it speaks to a balance. I guess it speaks to a balance of give and take, a balance of power, or where There is a power dynamic. So the guidance is, and is always going to be, go to the body. What does the body say? What does the intuition say? What does the gut, what's your gut response? There's that 16. Oh, look at this. 16. Sedna is a 16-7. We have this Nautilus shell here. It's like this falling into the fusing of the harmony. 16-7 wants to fuse that harmony in the heart with the light of truth. It's associated with the tower, and the tower is like, are we brave enough to pull down the edifice of our own creation? Do we have to be something? Do we have to be someone? Big questions here. Speaks to self-identity. Mm. And there it is. Sacrifice what? The false truth or the true truth? There's a cost for both. Mm. The alignment in that 4 wants to be present in the physical. Wow, that's gorgeous. I've never seen that before. 44 speaks to heaven and earth, bringing heaven to earth. But what it's showing me today is actually the heart chakra, aligning to the higher heart chakra. Making lying very difficult. Mm. Well, I think you're doing the wrong thing. Mm. My heart's going in this direction. I think you're doing the wrong thing. That's okay. What? No, you don't want to do this thing, but we're all doing this thing. It's going to be fun. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And I really don't want to do it. So do you trust yourself to take action on that? I don't want to do it. Nothing in my body right now wants this to happen. So I've had 2 massive tests this year. And I think I got taken to school at the weekend, and I won't share it with you because it's very personal, but yeah, having to make a heart-centered decision to really detach old uh, behavior. And yeah, I did it. I did. I threw caution to the wind, and I activated my sacred no and created this beautiful, beautiful energy of truth. Just everything in the field, everybody involved just opened up, and it was beautiful. But I didn't know what was going to happen. It was a risk. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping this up because I don't think, oh, numerology wants to play. I don't think it needs to be too long. You have something? Health is created in the psychic, spiritual, and emotional bodies. The work is already done by the time it presents in the physical. When we take responsibility for that, then we can get ahead of that curve and respond to our own needs rather than react to a physical condition. There's a lot of energy coming in with this. Yeah, it's about the handbook for the human body, the handbook for the human state. And I think the human body is just the most amazing piece of kit. It's so over-engineered. There's like 11 bodies that run the human body. If you think of the energy bodies, the physical bodies, the nervous system, it's so over-engineered. We have barely a clue how to work it. But when we sit and play with different things and what does this do and how does that make you feel, then we learn a different way rather than outsourcing our health and being told, yeah, what to do. Not even speaking to that, you know what's coming in. I don't know what to make of this. Okay. Okay. This is about finding the peace, I guess. Joy, if you can get there, but peace in the ending of mm, of of loss of what we will lose, what we feel is lost, but actually what might turn out to just be a skin shedding, might be a loss of reputation, loss of stability, according to our current understanding. Again, it's coming in on that 12 of personal authority. And this is like the bridge. So we've got the blueprint coming into the experience to kind of rebirth it. This is Phoenix energy. That's what it feels like. Phoenix energy. So the ending will be the beginning. It's about the bridge. It's about what kind of bridge do we want to build? In the transition between the intellectual life or the religiously programmed life and the strong feminine wave of potions and magic that's coming online. And when you know, you know. When you know, you know. It's only when we seek the approval from something outside of ourselves that knowing 22 intuition becomes a wobble and a doubt. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of wisdom oracle to bring this down, and then we're going to close with an abundance card. And then I'm going to go and find food because I'm very hungry. I did say a quick, yeah. Oh, drop the mic. Coming in on that 16, all that glitters is not gold. When you talk of love, do you feel it? That's really the question. When you talk of success, do you feel it? Oh gosh, I'll say, goodness me. Between blueprints. Yeah. I keep forgetting to mention it, but there's been like 2 or 3 days of time dilation that have happened in the last 2 weeks. And I keep forgetting, I've even written it in my notes and I forget to bring it. Time dilation, where it's just not right. Time is just not right according to, you glance at the clock and you kind of know roughly what time it is, and you look and it's like, what? So I've done it. And get rid of that post-it note. I am the queen of post-it notes. Between worlds, action. It's the one, the solar plexus, the active fire coming online. This is personal will, driven by active intelligence, free from obligation, anger, defiance. Have we got Mars conjunct Chiron as well? There is some beautiful astrology I just want to mention. So just beautiful trines and sextiles. There is some beautiful astrology coming up. So it's a really good playground time. Yeah, to play with that masculine fire. Beautiful. Oh, and another one. Right time, right place. Right time, right place. This is all over the place at the moment. Yes. I get the word intersection with this. It's like what I'm seeing is a road schematic, so a scheme of roads. We know where they go. We know the off ramps. We know the on ramps. And it's like this new scheme of roads coming in where suddenly, and for a short while, nothing's going to make a lot of sense. Mapping. It might be to do with neural pathways. Yes, the intersecting integration. Okay. And I'm going to finish with a cheeky abundance card, and then I'm off ski. Follow your North Star. Liberation from obligation and burden. And doubt. Doubt is a killer. Yeah, follow your North Star. You know what to do. You've known since you were a wee one, but you might have been stopped and suppressed, stymied, bullied, whatever. So reach into your defiance and be guided by your North Star, by your KNOW. Love it. That is it, my peeps. I will love you and leave you. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take good care.